Here to discuss medical cannabis in Germany with an all-star panel, brings you all the way from Toronto, Canada, the head of Lush Industries. Let's hear it for Alex Revich.
Check, check. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Good morning, Berlin. Yes, back at it again for our 8th time. Very, very excited to be doing this awesome panel about the German medical system. My name is Alex Revich. I come to you from Toronto, Canada. If you haven't been there, please come visit us. We got lots of cannabis and in many, many different forms. I've been at this now since 2013 and doing a lot of different things, including helping starting ICBC. So proud to see how big it's grown. Shout out to Alex Rogers and all the team here at ICBC. Quick round of applause for the team at ICBC for putting this all together. Amazing. So when I'm not busy putting this awesome show together, I have a company called Lush Brands. I've got my team over here. Shout out to Lush. We make edibles back in Canada. Hopefully you'll have some edibles here in Germany very soon. But let me introduce my awesome team over here, starting with Matthias. If you want to introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump right into it.
Yeah, my name is Matthias Fischer. I'm the founder of Cannabis, a wholesaler, EU GDP and EU GMP manufacturer. At the same time, I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of the Grünhorn Group. We are, let's say, a bigger group in Germany containing of a big online pharmacy, wholesaler, manufacturer. We have our own lab and we have our own academy for education that people learn more about cannabis. And the question how I come to cannabis was starting in 1996 with my first joint in a park with my friend. And then I had another good friend who was interested in my life and went directly to the school director and said, hey, you need to talk to this guy. This guy is strongly drug addicted and you need to help him. He will get heroin next time and please help him. And this was my first starting point into that topic, and I thought we need to do a little bit more. Now we are in the medical space, we help people. I think the last year was very helpful to us. The indications for cannabis are fair, I would say. So today we have maybe 1 million patients we serve here as a team, and I'm very proud to be part of the association of cannabinoid companies. We have in Germany 30 companies who were extremely fighting for the new government that they don't change the law, and I think those 30 companies, they build a great team, and one of those guys is Thorsten, and
awesome.
Next to me.
Thorsten, introduce yourself and how you got into this crazy cannabis world.
Yes, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having us here. Sorry, Alex, I think you're done because Matthias answered all your questions already. So,
we'll find some more.
Right. So, Thorsten, one of the co-founders of 420 Pharma. I'm the CEO currently, running the show with my partner Thomas. We started 2019, and we are now an importer, manufacturer. We have an own brand in Germany. We were pretty eager right from the beginning to become the gold standard of quality. That's with that story we started, and I think we did it pretty good. Currently, we are among one of the market leaders here in Germany, or in Europe, you can say. 2022, in October, a US company called Curaleaf stepped in and bought some shares. So that's why we have some experience. I think the CEO of Cresco had a very good topic here as well. So we know a little bit about the US market as well. Pretty different to the German market, but still you can learn from it, of course. And yeah, what we did is also like you, that's one of the differences we have here. We have a very strong regulatory framework, so we implemented, it's called an own laboratory, external laboratory last year. So that's also something, and I think we will discuss this here in brief, what you can do in Germany. Those are the things you need here, I think, but now I'm done.
Yeah, all right, thanks. Benedict.
Yeah, glad to be here. I'm Benedict. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Cansativa. Cansativa is building the largest platform for cannabis in Europe. We're offering wholesale products, like third-party labeled products that we sell into pharmacies. We have a range of own branded products, and we cooperate with some of the most known international brands that we bring into the German market. Myself, I started a journey in medical cannabis in 2017, right after the liberalization for medical cannabis law in March 17. So in April 17, I founded the company together with my brother Jacob. Jacob's background is law, so he was pretty much involved back then in some of the legal opinions on the law. And that's the starting point for our journey. Right now, very proud to represent Cansativa here. We're also one of the market leaders. We import product. We source them internationally from over 15 countries, have our own processing and manufacturing hub, and sell those products into German pharmacies. Glad to be here.
All right, awesome. Adrian.
Yeah, hello, my name is Adrian. I'm current CEO and co-founder of Demican. So my background is I'm a medical doctor, and I did especially natural research about neuropharmacology. And so I knew about the medical potential of cannabis for a long time, but I actually never thought I would end up in the cannabis industry. How that happened is that in 2017, my two co-founders and I applied for the German tender to produce medical cannabis in Germany. And basically everybody could apply. 117 international companies with a lot more money than us applied, but we were the only German company that in the end got the license. And since 2019, we built our production facility close to here in the north of Dresden. And we are producing currently 2,000 kilograms domestically cultivated. Our expanding will expand to 4,000 kilograms in 3 months. And we are also importing, so we are importing, have our own GMP processing. We have a laboratory, can do batch releases, so can do the whole thing.
Yeah, and I remember Demican from the beginning. You were one of the only German companies to actually get a license. When we first had ICBC, I don't know if anyone was here in 2017. We had about 350 people here. Anyone here at ICBC, the first one? Anyone? Yeah, a couple hands. Very cool. So the first topic we're going to jump into is this new government change that we had. Unfortunately, we missed Peter Homburg's talk, which I'm sure was very informative. But for us, how does that affect your business? Obviously, the new changes keep moving things around. What changes do you expect? Any predictions? And also, what do you think this is going to mean for your businesses?
Yeah, so from my understanding, here in Germany we have one of the let's say most fruitful grounds for medical cannabis. Maybe for the future for cannabis as a recreational thing, but I think that will come later. The society need maybe another 4 to 8 years to take the next step. For now, we have here a great situation that cannabis is no narcotic anymore since 1 year. Cannabis Grünhorn we grow by 600%, which is great. What else did we see is not only on patient side, we see on doctor side. So we're working together with roughly 15,000 doctors in Germany, roughly with 1,000 pharmacists and roughly with 100,000 patients. And we see that is much more open mind for this topic. And yes, we as a cannabis company or we as a cannabis society would like to see that much quicker, that the market is growing. And this is what we can see here in the volumes of importation. We have 72 tons imported last year. Today we have 1,100 products live.
Wow.
On pharmacies. So when you press now the button, you can have 30 tons of cannabis in 2 days on your desk as a patient.
Well, that's a lot of cannabis.
And that is the result of the new regulation that we have, let's say, experienced. When you put that, let's say, in numbers, you have in Germany a governmental cycle of 4 years, which means the former government needed 3 years to design a law. And then we had 12 months of law execution, from 1st of April until today. What we have for the future, and based on the work I mentioned at the beginning from our 30 companies in the BPC, the Association of Cannabinoid Companies, we made sure that this law will not touched, which means we have now another 4 years of a new governmental cycle, 4 years of full execution. And when you got in 1 year, maybe from 300,000 patients to 1 million patients, maybe, nobody knows the numbers, then you can imagine in 4 years we will maybe reach 2 to 4 million patients. And that is, from my understanding, a great chance. And that is, for us, a great responsibility, especially to not overrun the rules. You know, for example, we have this teleclinic stuff, you know, that is extremely quick to order medical cannabis now. There are some players who are a little bit more flexible than others. We have big discussions around video consultations, for example, and we as a market, as a company, and as companies and as associations, we need to be very, very careful and work with the current government, with the Ministry of Health, on future positive regulations for a long-term market.
No, it's a very, very good point. And similar to Canada, we have a very similar government cycle and similar frustrations. But what else do you guys think these new government changes? What have you seen, and how do you think it affects your business?
Maybe on what happened last year, April 1st was probably the biggest milestone for the German and European, maybe for the global cannabis industry. And what is important is that with this new government that is now teaming up, we expect a certain stability. It doesn't necessarily mean that there won't be any change to the law, but they want to reevaluate the law that was went effective last year. We expect as a group that this will mainly focus on especially the recreational part, so the decriminalized home grow and cannabis social club parts of the law. We expect that the medical cannabis framework tends to be pretty stable. However, they want to evaluate, and let's also be honest, if politics is evaluating stuff, this could also take some time. Right. So I look at this now as a really unique opportunity, and here I totally agree to Matthias. We have stability. This means we can attract further capital, we can invest, we can scale, we can grow, and this is really a little bit new, I think, for many of us in the industry, because the last 8 years were definitely a roller coaster ride, and now it seems to be a little more stable, which is great.
Right. And stability is important, whether it's stability like that moves forward so much, but at least it's positive because you can build your business around some sort of stability. Any other kind of thoughts on the government?
Yeah, I mean, that's very important because we did this investment in Germany we expanded our facility, and we definitely need this kind of stability. But I think we need to still monitor closely how this evaluation will take place, what the conclusions are that are drawn, and we still have to do a lot of work in explaining what the results will be. We as well don't expect that to mainly focus on the medical part, but as you said, there could be a discussion around whether everything that's happening in the telemedicine digital space is what the government intends. So we should monitor closely how that goes out. But we also don't expect any changes in 2025, maybe something then to manifest or to happen in 2026. So we'll see and we'll monitor.
And the stability is very good for also investors and even the banks to get involved. They like stability and they don't like to get involved if things are always so uncertain and always changing. Torsten, what do you think?
That's a very good point. I mean, let's be very honest. I mean, look at the industry, what we have done, and right, so I say we, look at the US companies. So investors came in so much money, way too much money, wasted money. So what did they do, right? I mean, you look at the numbers, all PowerPoints, take them. It's just, the predictions, totally wrong. Then marketing. You know, what kind of marketing we have seen? Useless. So just because we throw billions at, you know, at a market and we won't get things done and legalized, I think there are still some other stakeholders around, regulators, completely different view. So what we done also with our friends here, for instance, from Artemis, sitting here somewhere, so we came to the conclusion that might be a turning point now, right? So why don't we do it like this way? We prove that it's a medicine, so medical first somehow, then we go from there. So why not this way? So we take all the stakeholders in one boat, convince them, and then go from there. I mean, what we've done, also credit to the US, I mean, if you have a new industry forming, yeah, and there is so much money in it, of course, you know, you have the cowboys in the beginning, you have Wild West, you start, then you see that something doesn't really work, so the regulators step in and they, I mean, it's normal in every industry. We have seen that in Germany as well. So currently, I think we are in a growing up state. yeah, the market is evolving and we grow up currently. So good people coming in, good managers coming in, good investors coming in. So we see that if you play it this way, you bring everyone to the table all of a sudden, and you see it in Germany, that's what we have done in the last 12 months. So then they don't want to block you and they don't want to just prohibit things. If you include them, they're really helpful because they have ideas as well, so they really want to help. So, but that's the way you do it, so collaborate.
And I'm glad you said collaboration, because that's such an important part of all this. One thing I like when I come to Germany, like even with our panel in the back, you guys are all friendly, making jokes and stuff like that. It's so nice to see. Like in Canada, we had a trade organization, the Canadian Medical Cannabis Industry Association. I see one of the former board members up there in the audience. And it started off very friendly too, but very quickly, once the money started coming in and the investors, everyone started stabbing each other in the back and fighting and killing. Hopefully you can get away from that and realize you have more to do as collaborators together, working with the government rather than fighting against each other. First, create an industry, and then maybe you can fight about it. But if you're fighting before there's even an industry, you're just kind of stifling that. And we wanted to really touch on how you collaborate. You mentioned a trade organization, BPAC, I think you said, that you're a part of. Torsten, maybe talk about kind of the importance of collaboration. And I love kind of seeing how friendly you guys are for now.
So, I mean, what you describe here, of course, and you see it by, I mean, that's pretty logical. You have a demand there, you create a market, you have, what do you say, 1,000 listed products. So what does it mean?
1,100.
What does it mean? I mean, pharmacies can't really, take everything, so price war. So we have it as well, but since the beginning, a group of whatever, like 10, 15 players, once a week we have exchanges. And we said and we agreed upon one fact: if you want to grow in billion-dollar industry, it's not possible that one player can do it. Impossible. I haven't seen any industry in the world that did it. I don't know if you guys have one, I don't. Even Apple. So that's what we agreed on. I mean, if the space is there, right? I mean, fair fights and everything, right? And everybody has to find their approaches and their niches. But if the demand is there, we really have to make sure that somehow we work together to create a billion-dollar market, and the chance is there. I mean, right? That's what we have here. So then we knew the power of associations, of course. You know how the Germans like to work, how the government likes to be addressed, so to say. So it was clear from the beginning we need one of these bodies. So in this case, we decided to, I mean, there are a couple of them in Germany, but we decided the BPC is the right one for us. And with the threat of the new election, of course, and you saw the Black Party is strong, of course, there was a threat. So, of course, that helped to bring us a little closer again, right? So we found some money, although, money is hard to find currently, but we found some money, we found good people there, and I think because Matthias is more involved than we are a little bit, I think we found the right people. So that's how we collaborate here.
Yeah, and one sentence. When I studied strategic management, I learned one thing, and that was one word. It was called co-opetition. Yes. So in a network digital economy, you have market standards. You need to work together on, for example, laws. In our pharmaceutical world, we need to have the same regulatory framework and so on. And everybody here on the table or here on the seats, we have an interest that we have stable laws that support the next 4 years, for example. And the competition is totally okay when we talk about our sales teams. No? For example, Torsten will never tell me his prices to other pharmacies or his strategy in product development and so on, which is totally okay. Yeah, but when it comes to regulatory stuff, then we work together because Torsten knows, and Benedikt and Adrian, that we need the same security and the same regulatory framework for the next 4-8 years in the government. And this makes our association, the BPC, so successful, I think. And the politic area is one of the, let's say, work streams that is highly frequently used by every company and was over the last month extremely nice.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point that you bring up is, if you're the only company in this industry, then this whole industry sucks. You can't have one company owning a whole industry and having no other competition. So once you appreciate that, then you just realize you just want to be the best. You want to be number one, but you also want to have other people, and you need to work together to at least push this industry forward before you start fighting about it. That's very good. Any other kind of thoughts on kind of collaboration, Benedict or Adrian?
Yeah, maybe just a few more examples, because I can really agree on how the whole atmosphere in the German industry is. For example, we are buying products from the 420 guys. We are selling it to the Greenhorn Group, and in the past we were doing the service on the logistics of the products that you have grown for the Federal Republic of Germany. So we are highly connected within the groups, and I think this is very important that everyone finds its spot on the value chain, because, for example, if Matthias is focusing on your pharmacy or your sales network to patients, Torsten, Adrian, and I are maybe more focusing on developing new pharmacies that are stepping into the space, to enabling new point of sales that are also scaling rapidly. But at the same time, we like to work together. So I really can agree a lot with what you've said.
No, excellent. And you know, it sounds like you guys are very collaborative and you work together. That's really important. But if you can take a moment and maybe introduce what makes your business different and how maybe you separate your business from others, this is your quick, like, 1 minute kind of pitch of what makes you a bit different. Because yes, it sounds from an outsider, maybe it all sounds the same. You all do the same stuff. But actually, once I got to know you all do quite different things. So maybe, Adrian, if you can start us off, like, what makes Demican different?
Yeah, I mean, for us it's very, very straightforward, because we have the cultivation in Germany that we are running very successfully now for 3 years. And while we are also importing, that's clearly a differentiator. We also have means of doing our own lab analysis. We basically have the full value chain integrated in our company. Last word about the collaboration. I think that's also very, very valid. We all understand that making the market bigger is now the way to go forward. Maybe we all get the knives out once the market has grown, but for the current situation, that's really a great atmosphere to work in.
Yeah. They say a floating boat lifts all tide. A rising tide floats all boats, is what they say.
Yeah, and so we're also very much interested in educating not only doctors but the public about how medical cannabis is grown. So there's a lot of media attention coming to our facility. We're showing them that this is an actual professional business. For some people it sounds like, well, it's cannabis, this kind of shady. But once they've seen that, they realize that there's also lots of politicians that we've shown and introduced how professional the medical cannabis industry actually is. And I think that also is very important for all of us.
That is important. And we're going to talk about education, the importance of education in a moment. What makes Cansativa different?
Yeah, so we are a B2B platform selling into pharmacies. We are offering wholesale products, like third-party labeled products, a traditional distribution part of our company. We have maybe like 90% of the products that are available in the market in our wholesale portfolio. And on top of that, we have some own brands in different segments. And we have also exclusive international brands like Cookies, and also we're offering Peace Naturals by Kronos to pharmacies. This is probably the uniqueness of our model, and we, from our perspective, really put the pharmacy and the pharmacists in the center of our activities. We believe that these point of sales are very important to be strong in their capabilities and their education. So we provide, for example, SOPs, frameworks, processes into pharmacies, and really develop them from zero to hero just within a few weeks or months to grow, especially the market.
Nice, that's important. Torsten?
Yep. So what I always tell our organization is, in the end, we're a goods trading company. Not more, not less. So what's the secret behind it? Sourcing, quality, at the cheapest price points we can get it, in between processes, completely under control, and then sell the product as high as possible. Right? That's of course, we have a quality team, all that stuff, but in the end, that's it. So we have right from the beginning, we made sure that everything is under our control. So we gave away EU GMP certificates to Canadian suppliers. So we made sure that the supply chain, every EU GMP step is under control also in our facility. At the beginning was, all these steps. So supply chain under control. Then processes in between, as I said, everything in Paderborn, including our laboratory now, so that we have full control. I mean, we're still sailing under a regulatory, very hard framework, so that's the way it is. And then sales team, I know I come from the insurance industry, so that's, I mean, right? I always say that the customer or the patient or the consumer needs to be entertained, right? So I brought all my old sales guys to the show. I think when it comes to sales channels and distribution channels, we might be among the best ones in the industry. I mean, quality in the end wins, right? Mixed with a very good price point, so you have to know where you sell, how this ecosystem works. I mean, Cansativa is better here since they're very close, but that's really our core business model.
Yeah.
Stay with your core business model. That's where you earn money.
Yeah,
that's what I learned.
That sounds very simplified. I like it. Matthias, what makes Grünhorn different and Canimed?
Yeah, the USP of the Grünhorn Canimed group is we are one of the leading go-to-market platforms in the area of B2B2C. And we think that one or two strategic nodes you have in the value chain or in the value web, that is first of all the prescription enablement or prescription generation, which means you need to train doctors, you need to have a big doctor network, you need to have an academy, our own Grünhorn Academy, who is training all the, let's say, channels, pharmacists, doctors, and patients. This is the first strategic node we would like to cover. And the second strategic node, which will be more important in the future, that we worked for the last 5 years on a, let's say, scalable solution, is the pharmacy compounding process, which means cannabis is not a consumer product. Cannabis need to refill it from a bulk package into a patient package. And that need to be, let's say, quickly done. So if you have, as a wholesaler, for example, 3 tons of cannabis a month, that is easy. You shift some pellets from A to B, but when you need to put 1 pellet into 1,000 small glasses, then you see what the challenge is. And in Grünhorn Group, we have roughly 15 pharmacists. We have roughly 30 PTAs that are assistants, technical assistants, and we see that we have limits of scalability if we would purely work on a manual process. Which means for the last 5 years, we established a packaging machine. We have 2 multi-pound wages with 20 heads that can fill 60 glasses in a minute. That is connected to a label machine, to a top-up machine, and to a box packaging machine. So it's a bot who's doing 1,000 packages a day. It's just a bot. It's not a person. And generating that kind of blueprint for a scalable solution within that compounding industry, that is, from our understanding, the groundwork that we have done. It was extremely cash intensive, and it's extremely challenging for the future because what I mentioned at the beginning, when we come from 1 million to 2 to 4 million, maybe to 10 million patients in Germany, you need definitely scalable solutions. And I would say that Grünhorn has done a good job in generating a blueprint for it and be a good partner for, let's say, all the future wholesalers.
Yeah, for sure. And robot pharmacists sound really cool. Maybe less mistakes that way too. Maybe, hopefully.
And they don't sleep.
Well, we talked about importing. Importing is such a hot topic. I mean, only one of us on the stage here actually grows here in Germany. So obviously importing is so important. And even you couldn't grow enough for all of Germany anytime soon, that's for sure. Let's talk about importing. We know yesterday Kai was doing a presentation talking about over 60% comes from Canada, my home country. We sure do grow a lot of cannabis, and it's nice a lot of it's going into the legal channels, not just how it used to go back in the day. So now that we know over 60% comes from Canada, how much time do you spend in Canada? Can you talk about your process of importing? Maybe give the people kind of some information on what that's been like for you. And then maybe a follow-up question on that is, what other countries are you looking at beyond Canada, since there's other countries also looking for the German business. But talk to me about Canada. How often do you spend time in Canada, and what's importing like been? Benedict, if you want to kick us off.
Yeah, sure. So I think I'm maybe 3 times a year in Canada, and some of our team members obviously more often. We source from different suppliers in Canada. A typical supply chain could look like sourcing bulk from Canada, bringing it into our GMP processing hub in Germany, where we would, for example, repackage the product, do some maybe sorting steps, and then release the product with an external lab. That's like the typical supply chain. In other setups, we're also working with other EU GMP processors. So, for example, you could bring product from Canada through Portugal and maybe other countries where you have EU GMP processors, and they would do the steps that maybe we don't want to do in-house from capacity perspective and also from supply chain perspective. And this gives us the unique opportunity to collaborate with different suppliers in Canada. On top of that, we also have miscellaneous EU GMP hubs on Canadian soil to do some services for us.
Yeah, very cool. What's your experience in Canada? Matthias visited us in Canada?
Yes, I was in Canada as well, and we have great partners in Canada, BC Green. And what I like with the Canadians, working with the Canadians, that let's say they are very close from a culture perspective to the European guys. The health insurance system is quite similar. They have the same way of working. And I like let's say, the pragmatic way of working together, right? So if we have here in Germany a complex regulatory environment and importation is not so easy, then there is, let's say, a space for understanding. And that is what I like on Canadians. And I think the other aspect is the quality. So I don't know how many companies you have in Canada, 800, 900?
Yeah, but how many are actually operating? But that's a different topic for another day.
Yeah, but it's a good race for quality. It's a good race for craft products. It's a great product for scalable products and so on. And we, as in Germany, we can participate on that. And let's say, as we have different, let's say, energy costs, for example, and different, let's say, regulatory, let's say, requirements. It's a good collaboration from my understanding. And what I have learned from BC Green is that they work with hydro electricity plants, which means the power cost is roughly 3 to 5 cents kilowatt hour. And that is, from my understanding, a good relationship.
Yeah, for sure. Any other thoughts from you guys before we go on the next topic? We're going to talk about is the importance of education. You touched on it briefly before. Like in Canada, much like in Germany, cannabis is a narcotic, or even if it's taken off the narcotic list, it's still a very controlled substance, and marketing is very, very challenging. So people always say to me, Alex, like, how do you market in an environment where you're not allowed to market? And I think the simple answer is education. By educating consumers, they can make more wise decisions on which product to take, but also educating doctors, which is so important to not only educate them on products and all the things that we want to educate them on, but also reduce the stigma. They have a misunderstanding of what cannabis is. Maybe they were taught wrong information, or they watch too much news where they just show a lot of negative stuff about cannabis. But maybe talk about the work that you do in educating doctors. And then after, we're going to open it up to questions. I'm sure the audience has lots of questions for you, so get your questions ready. And maybe, Adrian, we'll start with you. How do you do education for doctors, and do you see it as very important? I imagine you do.
Yeah, what works really well is that we have multiple sessions a year where we invite doctors from all over Germany to visit our facility. And it's really interesting to see how many of them have never seen an alive cannabis plant in their life. So many of them are super surprised on what it looks like. And I mean, obviously, most of them have never seen a professional cannabis operation. But even that, most haven't ever seen that. And they have very basic questions that you would think are obvious. Like, they are super surprised that you can prescribe a flower. Many of them have never heard of that's possible. Right. So it's really important to do that. And the second thing we are doing a lot is, I would call it education and edutainment. We are creating a lot of social media posts, now up to, I think, over 100,000 followers. So people are really interested in seeing that, answering questions where We always say something that's educative, but also something that it's kind of entertaining so that people actually want to follow up. And that's directed mostly to patients or future patients. And we see that that's really, really a growing community. Lots of questions are being asked there and that can be answered.
And funny, one question when I did a lot of doctor education, they always said, wait, your symbol is a leaf, but you don't even smoke the leaf? I'm so confused. I thought you guys only smoked the leaf. And like, no, the leaves are garbage. We don't want the leaf. So there's a lot of confusion there. But yes, that's a funny one. Torsten, what do you guys do for education?
So, first of all, the doctor education is something we have to really work on. So to be fair, what really triggered the demand or really made the market in the last 12 months were the telemedicine platforms, right? So what we do is, and it's not easy to find and detect where the doctors are that are willing to prescribe and all that stuff. So it's a different game. So wholesale game is totally different. So that's why we implemented I called it medical unit internal. So focusing mainly on the doctors. So how do we do this? We formed a circle of experts. So we brought the best or the most well-recognized doctors from different professions in Germany once a year. We did this last month. The second one was huge, big success. To bring them together, it's funny because doctors also never talk to each other internal, it looks like, because the feedback is always good to talk to others and how they do the medications and all that. I was okay. So we will move on with this. Second is then we do some big campaigns. So we have done this. Sanity, there's another big player here. We did this together. It was called Endlich. It's finally, right? Because after that was pre-legalized. So we started this with of course famous actors, famous singers, and all that stuff. So then we are sponsors of a second division soccer club in Germany. They're third or fourth now. I hope they stay in the second league. Otherwise, I have to double the price.
Maybe too much cannabis.
Anyways. But and it's good with them because they're really open for this topic, and since they're really second division team, a lot of visitors every weekend, so they collaborate with us as well. So we use the stadium, for instance, and the rooms for info evenings. And what Adrian is saying, once a week we do a tour through our facility, and it's funny with pharmacists, doctors, and all that stuff. Police is there on a regular basis. So really to show them, right, it's pharma-like. Yeah, and the reactions are really cool all the time.
Right, they find that it's not what they thought it was. They meet you and they say, oh, this is not what I thought it was. Yeah. And I think that's important to normalize and reduce the stigma. Now, we're going to open it up to questions. We have some other topics to go over, but I figured you guys would want some questions, so maybe we'll start with some
questions. Let's hear it again for Alex and everyone. We're a little out of time. So if anyone has a brief question and not some sort of long involved story. All right, here we go. Oh.
Hello?
Oh. It's a seventh.
Hi, my name is Kashira. Closer. My name is Kashira. I'm the CEO of Jig Cannabis, currently based in South Africa. This is a question for the panel. What advice could you give, growers who are looking to enter into the German market? And besides for cannabis, which other countries are you guys looking at? And if you could just give us some simple steps on how we as growers can enter into the German market. Thank you.
What do you think?
So first of all, okay, if I go? Okay. First of all, thank you very much. It's a very good question because, of course, I've said this now a couple of times. Very hard framework under regulatory viewpoints. So it's EU GMP. So, of course, and I'm speak for all the industry players here. We get approached by so many growers every day. So and then we ask, and that's easy. Just certificates, right? COAs, samples. Right, and that has to match with the regulatory framework in Germany. So that's time-consuming for all the parties because in the end, right, maybe 95% doesn't match up. So really make sure that you understand what the German market needs. Certificate-wise and all that stuff. Really make sure that you have everything, because if you put this in one email to me, and I see all the things listed, I would not even call you. I would book the next flight and be there, serious. Then, if you want to, you're from Africa, South Africa.
South Africa, yeah.
So, if you talk about non-irrigated product in Germany, that's so tough to grow. I mean, I know South Africa because I've looked into many facilities over there. If you are indoor, if you're not indoor, for instance, grower, that's really tough to achieve every batch, every month, a shipment. The tough part is always the microbiology levels to keep, right, to match them. So if you don't have an indoor facility, I'm always very transparent and I'm open. That's people say I'm rude sometimes, but I'm not. I don't want to waste time. So it's really, you can't match, maybe in the wintertime, right? But not in the summertime. So let's be very honest. That's also one thing. Everybody's approaching us. We have the best product. I have the best la 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 la. Yes, but it's really shown what comes out of the laboratory. It's the results. So that's really the first advice. Second is, by now, if you don't have the sales and distribution channels in Germany that you can attack, really make sure you find a niche. I can't find your concept in 2 minutes now, but really with 1,000 products listed already, that's really tough. If you can grow at 5 cents and sell it to me for 12, everything perfect, yeah, I buy everything you have. But if not, it's really, I don't have a concept for you right now, but currently it's really tough to enter the German market. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you really have to look into the market first, do the field work, get into contact with the pharmacies. That's also one thing. You need doctors, so you need to be on a prescription first, and second is you have to sell it through a pharmacy. That's the only way you can do it. So
definitely not as easy as it used to be a few years ago. A lot more. Last quick comment, and then we got to wrap up. Matthias.
Just 2 sentences as one adding. After 7 years of cannabis, the time of talking is done. You don't need to have PowerPoint. You have in Germany 10 to 15 companies who are well established. Every normal company will say, hey, come over, I can show you my processes, come in my facility, here are live cannabis products, you can test it, and you can really understand what the real processes are. And the simple rule is, if the grandma is not understanding the processes, then it's not correct. So everybody need to answer your simple questions when you enter the German market. And the answer is not, it's complex. It's possible.
Awesome. Round of applause for our panelists here. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
All right. Yes, indeed. Quick picture, quickly. We're trying to be on time because we're in Germany. Right? If we were in Barcelona, we might have a couple extra minutes. But we're in Germany right now, so we want to be punctual and prompt.